In a 10 hiding spot. This is based on the story, but how the absolute living hell did William get away with this, okay? Hiding the bodies in animatronics? Dude, the smell of rotting bodies would absolutely ruin anything. And the heat from the animatronics moving would speed up the actual decomp of the bodies inside, thus making it worse. And the animatronics are in front of other children every single day, okay? Like, parents even started complaining that the animatronics were leaking mucus and blood, as well as, quote, smelling like death, okay? If this was real, and William getting away with this wasn't important for the story of the games, he would have been caught instantly. They never found the bodies of these kids. Like, oh, we never found the bodies of these kids that supposedly went missing in this pizza place. But now their animatronics are starting to leak blood and are reporting to smell like death. Maybe we should check these out. Oh man, look, 5 dead bodies corresponding to different victims that went missing on the premises. William, you're under arrest. See, like, I don't get how this wasn't cut and dry. How this didn't just... How? In at 9, Mrs. Afton's death. This is more so embarrassing because of the community as a whole. The story of Mrs. Afton, if there even is one, is a mystery that we've been debating for ages. A story that hasn't even had a slight amount of explanation, okay? No references, no mention of an actual name, nothing. So naturally, there are theories. However, these theories have no actual base in game lore, and instead focus on FNAF animated music videos, and stories, and fan fictions that are treated as canon, and sometimes heavily so. The truth is that we have no idea what happened to Mrs. Afton currently, alright? We don't even know if there really was a Mrs. Afton or if it was just like a baby mama or a one-night stand. Or like maybe William ended up having like a surrogate so that he could have children of his own, alright? His kids may also just be adopted. There's a whole series of explanations as to what can actually be the case. But either way, for some reason, okay, and I don't know what really caused this to pick up, a load of people think that Mrs. Afton died in a car accident. Like, I mean, it's a possibility. That doesn't mean that it's canon, okay? Technically, there's infinite possibilities, okay? I mean, there are also others that think that William killed her or that she just left him because she found out what he was into, but then again, for some reason, she would also have had to leave him with his prime demographic. Others think that the reason that she left was because he started killing. Others think that she died in a plane crash. And you know what? All are equally possible, but nothing is actually canon, so stop treating it like it is, because frankly, it's embarrassing. In at 8, Princess Quest. Another embarrassing moment for William. Alright, the whole reason he made Princess Quest a thing in the first place was to lock Vanessa away and prevent her from regaining control of her body whenever William needed it, okay? So why the hell did William create some sort of fail-safe to let her escape? Like, okay, maybe he didn't expect Gregory to come along, or maybe he did and figure it out, I don't know. But given the track record of this series and the amount of times William himself, just alone, has been burned, literally, you think that he would have smartened up already. But you know what? He didn't. And you know what? It's like having a self-destruction button, okay? It's like having something on the inside of the Iron Man suit or on the outside of the Iron Man suit that someone can just tap and then boom, it doesn't work anymore. Like, why? Why would you do that? It's stupid. If you want something to work, why give it away to not work? Like, this is one of the dumbest things that William has done. And it's 7, Wall Tiles. FNAF 3 is a trippy game to say the least. With multiple different endings and a load of puzzles along the way, the supposed to be final game of the series takes some weird turns. But I think the most egregious offense is the freaking goddamn wall tiles. Why do you have to dial in a phone number on some panels in the wall in order to set souls of dead kids free? Like, what? Where did that come from, and why is nobody questioning this anymore? Like, the other games came out and we just forgot about this. Was it because the series was meant to be a dream but isn't anymore? Like, is it because William had left some weird security pad behind these tiles? Is it not real at all and we're just tripping balls? Because honestly, with the amount of hallucinations and fear we have, not to mention any sleep deprivation that could also be happening, it's entirely plausible that this just isn't real at all, and that these wall tiles, special minigames, and shadow Bonnie action figures we do see are just a result of multiple different issues. That, or it's the reason William started killing, because like, WTF. And it's 6, limited power. The original difficulty of this game comes from the fact that you have limited power, at least in FNAF 1. This adds stakes since you can't just keep your doors closed the whole time and you can't just keep the lights on outside. And it's explained to us, and just flat out told to us in the survival logbook, that the building has limited power after 12 AM. Why? That makes no sense. Absolutely none. Why would a building have restricted power after midnight? I've never heard of that before. And unless the franchise owner is extremely cheap and doesn't want more of an electricity bill, there would be no reason to set up a system that cuts you off. Plus, if that's the case, why risk a more costly lawsuit in that case if someone does get hurt or dies because of the limited power? Even if you won and didn't have to pay, you still have to pay the lawyer fees, because by no means would any judge make someone who got injured at work pay for the company's fees. At least I'd hope not. Especially when the game takes place. Halfway through into number 5, FNAF AR. I've said it before and I will say it a million more times. Why is the company sending out animatronics that they know are dangerous? The whole point of FNAF AR is that the company is sending these animatronics to try and rebuild their reputation. Same thing with Help Wanted. But then they see that they're infected with a virus turning them hostile, but instead of recalling them like any normal company, they send out more animatronics, including multiple versions of the killer that caused them to lose their reputation in the first place. They did not think that it was just an older Bonnie model and decided to call it Springtrap. If that was the case, it would be listed in AR as Old Bonnie or Spring Bonnie, not Springtrap. They know exactly what they're doing and nobody has called them out yet. Companies will get in trouble for making a freaking tiny mistake in their game, but this company can get away with just letting people die? That's sus as hell. Purple is sus. And for business deals, the people behind the Fazbear Entertainment Company, whether it be some board of directors or William Afton, aren't the brightest bunch. The ideas are there, but they're not executed well. Why the living hell would hiring someone to make games about the tragedies that took place in your restaurants ever seem like a good idea? That shouldn't have worked in the slightest. The main concept of using a game to make fun of the deaths of kids is already pretty messed up. And while it seems to have worked in the FNAF universe, why did they ever try it? Those events now will never be lost in time. Those games are there forever. And if they're as popular as the games are in our world, there are people who made whole YouTube channels about the series. At least when YouTube comes out. When does YouTube come out in this world? Like, I know one kid said MatPat's line in one of the Fazbear Frights books, and then the book said, as his favorite YouTuber says, but like, when did that story take place? After 2005, or was YouTube around earlier in this timeline? Because if it is, am I still the host on Top 10 Gaming? I kinda wanna be canon in FNAF 2. Getting close to the end in number 3, forgetting Foxy. I'm pretty sure that the Foxy mechanic was added to help keep the player from just keeping their screen down for the whole night, since I don't think you can really get jump scared if you don't bring up the tablet with the cameras unless like you're looking to the wrong side of the office. So Foxy was a way to ensure that you actually had to load up the cameras and hold them back as a way to actually have the possibility of being jump scared. Because if you don't look at Foxy throughout the whole first night, he can actually jump scare you. However, forgetting about Foxy and not checking Pirate's Cove is a horrible idea, even if unintentional. My personal strategy is to put the camera on Pirate's Cove when you close the tablet, so that you make sure that when you open it the next time, Foxy gets his dose, okay? He gets his attention. And just like Peanut, the SCP, he'll stay in place. And that just makes sure that I don't forget about him either, because my reaction time isn't fast enough to stop him from getting into the office. Penultimately, in at number 2, purple versus pink. The purple versus pink guy debate is the Mike versus Will Trap debate, okay? But it's from the early days, when all we had to worry about was different colors and not like 14 different purple characters. This debate came after FNAF 2's Foxy Go 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 minigame, where some fans believed that the guy standing in the corner all smiley was a different group of dead kids, and it was a different killer because he was slightly lighter. That's right, he was not the exact hexadecimal code for purple that we knew, so we thought it was a different person. And you know what? This is stupid. Don't do this, okay? They're all the purple guy. It says so in the FNAF like handbook or whatever it's called. It says purple guy, okay? He's the purple guy. Stop it. Leave me alone, okay? I only use the pink guy when I need an extra slot on a list because there's not enough William Afton versions or something like that, okay? It's purple guy. And finally, in at number 1, the Bite of 83. The Bite of 87 was one of the most mysterious moments in the entirety of the FNAF series, and it was introduced in the first game. Being introduced in the series into FNAF 1 from 2014, the Bite of 87 has remained one of the most debated points in FNAF history, and we can't quite agree on what happened. At first, we thought it was Golden Freddy who caused it, then Freddy, then Mangle, then Fredbear, then Toy Chica, then back to Mangle, and then everyone in between. And everyone has their own opinion on the subject, but for some reason, most people think that FNAF 4 is the Bite of 87. However, it's been confirmed that it's the Bite of 83. Okay, if you Google the Bite of 87 as well, well, you get pictures from FNAF 4, which is not helping. And I don't think it helped that one of the most famous lines Markiplier has ever said was that the bite of 87? It wasn't, Mark. I'm sorry. Okay, it's been years. Everyone needs to stop it, okay? The bite of 83 is FNAF 4, and I still see it in the comments today, so stop it. And at 10, killing where you eat. The biggest mistake that William ever made, in my personal opinion, and I will say this until the day I die, was the fact that he killed people in his restaurant, okay? It's unknown if this was always his intention, but like, come on. Who would think that this is a good idea? Like, who in the comments wants to come at me and try to justify killing your prime demographic in your place of business, okay? Dealers don't kill their customers, okay? Mechanics only bleed their clients dry of their money, not their blood. So like, why would William think that this is a good idea? Literally, go anywhere else. This is just like, it's basically killing in your house and then like calling the cops and saying, hey, I killed someone in my house. It's putting unwanted attention and scrutiny on literally everything you do just so they can try to catch you. Like, you even end up getting banned from going back into your building when the investigation is underway. And it's not like it helped your business. You had to close the first location because of this, resulting in you having to open another one that killed your daughter. So, yeah, pretty embarrassing if you ask me. All you had to do was go to the park or some random alleyway or like a laser tag place, and then boom, your kids would be alive, you'd be harder to suspect, and you'd be rich from your business, because honestly it was a good idea, but you're done. And at 9, Cassidy. Assuming for this scenario that Cassidy is the one you should not have killed, this was also one of the most embarrassing things that William could have done. Or maybe he doesn't consider it a mistake because like the one you should not have killed is kind of keeping him alive after all, although it's still unclear if they're doing that currently or not. But they're doing it as a way to make him suffer. So I feel like getting possessed by a child is pretty embarrassing. I mean that, like, depending on the angle that you want to like look at, that I'm going with it's embarrassing. If I was possessed by a child, I would be embarrassed. I don't think I am, hopefully. But even if he does like consider this a good thing, or if Cassidy doesn't end up being the one you should not have killed, which in my opinion she's not, but like killing those 5 kids that made up the missing children's incident that likely ended with Cassidy, that's dude. Come on, we already talked about it. You killed in the wrong place. It's embarrassing. So, you know what? If you don't want to count Cassidy as the embarrassing mistake, count the missing children's incident as that mistake, alright? Just count it whatever way you want. It's on the list, deal with it. And at 8, Charlotte. While yes, Charlotte may have been Afton's first true kill, causing his descent into absolute freaking madness. In the games, Charlotte ends up possessing the puppet, who then gives life to the other animatronics, which causes you to disassemble them and release their spirit. In both universes where William kills Charlotte, it comes back to bite him in the since Henry comes after him for it, which results in what should be his death multiple times over. And not to mention how in the book specifically, unbeknownst to her at least, she is an animatronic robot that was meant to replace the daughter that Henry had lost. But it was also revealed that the animatronic is also Baby, you know, the baby animatronic that we all know and love, yeah, who can switch between her forms at will, and then the human version doesn't remember being Baby. So yeah, Charlotte in the books is also Baby, which is also in the games William's daughter. And at 7, Mic Trap. The Mic Trap versus Will Trap debate, at least in our comment section, seems to be over. Well, at least it was until other videos went out, because, you know, people are gonna start trolling again. However, the debate over who is in the Springtrap suit is sometimes still heavily debated on other comment sections and like on Reddit. And this is specifically thanks to the final scene from the sister location final cutscene that involved the final speech from Michael and the reappearance of Springtrap, confirming theories about him surviving the Fazbear Frights fire. However, the appearance of Springtrap, accompanied by the line of "I'm going to come find you," left some people thinking that Michael was the one in the Springtrap suit instead of William, also leading to the conclusion that Michael was the purple guy instead of William, which is also wrong as confirmed by Scott when he said check MatPat's explanation on the subject, which MatPat concluded that Michael had no way of being the purple guy and thusly is not Springtrap. But, you know, people are still yelling about it. Even Scrap Trap reignited this debate. Like, people now think, or at least used to also think, that Scrap Trap was Michael or William, and that Spring Trap was William or Michael. And it's 6 Pizza Bot. One of the most interesting things to me in Security Breach was the Pizza Bot minigame, where you choose to go to the bottom of the Pizzaplex, and then like you go through the vent and try to escape the Pizzaplex instead of going through L chips. At that point, you end up getting locked in a security office where Chica is outside the only working door. So to lure her away, you need to make a pizza using one of the chef bots. So then she goes and gets the pizza, and then you can leave through the door. It's actually like a really cool look into like the Fazbear Kitchen and how it operates now, with service bots kind of taking up the positions of people because they can be unpaid, but also I'm guessing are more reliable to not kill people than humans, which is kind of funny when you're talking about this series. However, the funniest part about it was when I got stuck in the sauce machine and decided to say, "Oh no, Steph Chica," and that's what made this embarrassing for me. I said in a different video I would talk about it at some other point, and this is that point, okay? I don't know how it happened, but when I was making the pizza, I got phased into the sauce machine, which resulted in me being unable to actually finish the pizza, so I just had to wait to be jump scared to retry. But while I was waiting, I decided to say, "Oh no, Step Chica, I'm stuck in the sauce machine. I hope nobody comes by and licks sauce out of my," and then I won't finish that sentence because I think it's fairly evident where I was going. Yeah, that was a low moment for the barnacle. Halfway through into number 5, real life. The Twitter account Diamond Zia on June 27th, 2020 tweeted out 3 photos with the line, "FNAF will be real in 48 hours. These pictures were of news articles. One from USA Today titled 5 children have gone missing inside Chuck E. Cheese. Parents report smells coming ... One from Associated Press called, quote, "Post-hour worker at Chuck E. Cheese reported dead at 27. And a final one from the Something News titled, "Night shift worker at Chuck E. Cheese claims strange movements from animatronics during post hours." However, this title had animatronics spelt incorrectly. It said Amicatronics. Everyone was freaking out, and pictures of the articles, particularly the first one, were shared all over the internet. People were like absolutely spamming everyone, especially because this was around the time where Chuck E. Cheese had announced its closure. However, people didn't realize that these were fake. How are they fake, do you ask? It's easy. They just edited the source code, okay? Because you can change what anything says on a website, but it will only change for you until you reload the page, okay? And you can do this by editing the source code. You just need to find the aspect you're looking for, and then you can change what it says. Once you do that, you can do basically whatever you want. You can even change pictures, okay? So whoever made the original image just found an article from USA Today. It didn't even have to be about Chuck E. Cheese because they could have changed the picture, and they just changed the title to 5 missing children going missing, and like the same thing with the other articles, hence why there were only images of the articles and not actual links. It was a hoax that blew up, and people actually believed it, and some still do. In it for disturbing desires. So this is something that I've noticed in the comments that actually worries me, as well as pretty embarrassing. So we've made a series of videos about how we could turn the closed Chuck E. Cheese restaurants into FNAF joints, okay? Or even like just one ideal location. Not in Utah, though, ironically. But you see, in the comments of those videos, which you should totally go watch, by the way, then share them with Scott, because I want to kind of do that even if it's just open for like a week or a weekend. And I mean, like, if Mr. Beast can open fast food, I'm sure Scott can make this happen, okay? The comments, though, on those videos are full of various people telling me how they think it would be a great idea, because then they could die in the FNAF restaurant and go on to possess an animatronic. What? Why the absolute living would you want that? First of all, okay, possession, not real. That's not a thing in real life. I've yet to see real evidence of it or anything else paranormal. In addition to that, though, even going by FNAF rules, you would need to suffer in order to die and generate the agony that is needed to possess something. Since in FNAF, all possession is actually just a manifestation of your extreme agony grabbing onto something that's nearby, as we learned from Fazbear Frights and Dr. Phineas Taggart. And finally, into number 1, Spring Trap. Being the genius behind some of the most advanced robotic technology in the universe, we expect a lot from William, okay? He's the suit technician, he's the main killer, he seems to be the CEO of the company, so he should really know what he's doing, right? Apparently not. Since after discovering that the original 5 animatronics were possessed, he disassembled them to learn their secrets. This inadvertently released the spirits of the original 5 victims, though, causing William to panic, which is understandable, since firstly, they're freaking ghost kids that he never expected to see again, and also because they're the ghost kids that he killed. Okay, so this absolute animatronic genius, the technician that has handled the suit maintenance for years and has explained to every employee the proper procedure for the spring lock suits, including the spring bodysuit that he uses, ends up climbing inside the suit in a panic, in an attempt to make himself feel more powerful and maybe scare off the ghost kids. However, he's so smart that he didn't notice the moisture in the room, the leaking ceiling, which causes the spring locks that were active at this moment since it was in suit mode to fail, which would have killed him had he not been possessed by the one you should not have killed. Yeah, embarrassing. And at 10, don't run. What do you do if a group of bad guys is coming after you at a good pace and you have no way to defend yourself? You get the hell out of there faster than my dad trying to get milk, faster than William's wife left him, faster than me going outside when someone asks if I want to get Taco Bell. The fact that we're in this tiny office is pretty ridiculous when you think about it. Like, honestly, why would we stay in this room when we see on the security cameras that the animatronics aren't nearby? We can just like book it and be safe. Like, why isn't there a one-way emergency exit out of our office if this is such a hazard? We stay in this room, and that wouldn't happen in real life if you were in any sort of actual danger. In Game Lab, MatPat's old YouTube Red series, we saw him take on a real FNAF experience. However, when the animatronics were close, he didn't run away, he stayed in the office. Which could be used to say that since we consider that our safe space, we would do the same. But if our life was actually in danger, like mortal danger, we are gonna die danger, we would run like the wind, and not work there for 7 days before getting fired. Then at 9, animatronics. Now, ignoring the whole possession thing, since that still isn't real, I've seen no evidence of it, especially due to intense agony, the whole servos locking up so we need to let them roam free at night thing is complete and utter BS. Firstly, in a world where we can have shape-shifting animatronics and discs that emit such high-frequency sounds that they alter what we see, I'm supposed to believe that a servo motor is going to lock up? Secondly, why do they need to free roam in the first place? They just stand on a stage. A servo motor creates linear or circular motion, which is not the kind of movement the animatronics need. I mean, it could be, but if these are so complex that they can move on their own, why would they lock in the first place? Not to mention the whole, yeah, someone got bit on the head so we're gonna stop making them roam around freely. Like, why would you do that in the first place? Or the fact that kids literally tear Mangle to bits and then put her back together. Ironically, because, you know, put you back together. But still, it makes no sense. Before I continue on, can you do me a huge favor and hit that like button if you're enjoying the video or just the channel in general? And feel free to share this with a friend if you're so inclined. It really helps us out against the algorithm and lets us know what you want to see more of. And you know, helps me keep my job. Thank you. And at 8, technology. Speaking of animatronics, what is up with the technology in this world? They're so advanced, but at the same time, they have the same tech that they would have in that era. The illusion discs are already crazy overpowered. Like, life is a perfectly balanced game with absolutely no exploits, but those things are absolutely nuts. And then there's the Funtime animatronics, where Baby literally stores a claw in her stomach and can capture children, and their AI is so advanced that Ballora can talk, and she isn't really possessed. Unless we go off the FNAF novels, and even if we did, it's from 5 different kids, so they would just be gargling. And the animatronics' ability to free roam is incredible. They were doing this before they got possessed as well, so their AI is incredibly advanced. Yet for some reason they don't have smartphones or better computers. Like, NASA would be interested in the AI of these animatronics, so why is there other pieces of technology that are the same as they would normally be in that era? It makes no sense to me. And at 6, Henry. Why did you think that killing Charlotte wouldn't have any consequences, okay? Like, you killed your business partner's daughter. That was probably pretty obvious to him, especially since he already suspected you were up to something, and he took extra care to protect his daughter, and then she still died. That is 100% the superhero origin story that Henry needed. A vengeful father if I have ever seen one, and he didn't even need vengeance when he was putting that green bracelet on his daughter. So then, you know what? Then he's after you, or it seems like it, and you don't kill him next? Like, killing Henry would have done so many wonders for your criminal career. I mean, like, yeah, the cops were already suspicious of you. As long as they can't find a body, they've already said that, like, they can't arrest you without a body, apparently. So if they won't put you away for 5 missing kids, they won't put you away for a missing father as well. Especially a jury who has to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that you're the killer. And I mean, like, I don't know, that's kind of up in the air, and like, you'd rather not go to trial if you were being charged with murder, but still, without a body, there can't really be any forensic evidence. So if you just, I don't know, throw it in a wood chipper, Again, these videos are going to be the reason I get hauled into the police station. In it for fun times. Now, there's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state of the art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping you could shed some light on those. Well, she can dance, she can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream. Yeah, with all due respect, those weren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton. Yeah, that classic line of William seemingly being interrogated by the police that plays the first time you open up Sister Location is definitely showcasing how embarrassingly stupid this guy is. The cops know what these animatronics are doing and are capable of, and what they were designed to do, so they instantly end up being even more suspicious of him. And considering, like, the circumstances, we can also assume that Elizabeth is inside the robot. Like, there's no way that they confiscated the animatronics before they had to close Circus Babies. So she is definitely still inside the robot. So they're definitely keeping a closer eye on him, and his daughter's in a robot that they're asking him about, okay? Bro, yeah, why? Designing the fun times as killbots before seemingly you actually had the rest of the FNAF roster, definitely an embarrassing moment. Especially considering how one of the fun times was meant to symbolize your dead wife. I don't wanna know how you were trying to fill that one with souls, bro. Leave me out of it. And at 3, business expansion. When a company undergoes a tragedy like 5 missing children, you can usually assume that they're either going under or will never be the same. This would go for any company, but especially a company directed at kids. Like, if Chuck E. Cheese actually had this happen, nobody would be taking their kids there. But for some reason, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has not only been able to keep their doors open, but make them bigger, opening an entire shopping mall based on their characters. How the actual hell did this happen? From having to shut down at the end of basically every FNAF game to opening an entire mall-sized pizzaplex that has even more opportunities for your kids to get lost in. What the ever-loving crap happened to make that work? This has to be the most ridiculous form of logic in this series. I'm not even exaggerating. I don't care how many comments say that they would love a real FNAF. If it was actually real and there were actual deaths, you'd be scared crapless to go there. You wouldn't actually go unless you were an adult with no kids or a YouTuber trying to put together the mystery of what really happened and to see if their pizza is recycled. And ultimately, in a number 2, investigation. Speaking of trying to find out what really happened, why didn't the cops? We know that there was an investigation thanks to the Midnight Motorist minigame from FNAF 6, but they never found the bodies, even though the animatronics smelt like death and were oozing mucus and blood. So much that they had to actually shut down according to the FNAF 1 news clippings. So what gives? Why did they close their investigation so quickly? Or why didn't they look into the suits when it was reported that they were leaking blood? I don't care if it's the 80s and the police don't have the tech they do now. If a place you were investigating missing people but found no bodies had something that is leaking blood, you go check that out. You don't just leave it behind and say, that can't be related. Who the hell thinks like that? It's so disgusting to me. And honestly, even though it's a game that has to have a reason to continue, they should have done more. I get that if they had found the bodies, we wouldn't have gotten so many games, but sometimes it's quality over quantity. Guess they had to meet their arrest quota for the month or something, so they just dropped this case like it was coal. Finally, in at number 1, doors. You knew this was going to be on the list. I hate the goddamn mother-loving doors in this game. Why do they open when the power is out? That makes no sense. Even if it's an electromagnet, like everyone keeps saying in the comments whenever I bring this up, those require power to turn on. So if anything, it would be costing power to keep the doors open rather than closed. Gravity doesn't work in reverse. If the magnet is off, the door would just fall down. I get that it's supposed to be for gameplay purposes, but what in this universe makes this make sense? There is no conceivable way that these doors should be working in that way, but they do. They do, and it makes me mad. Why do you do this to me? Sky Daddy Scott, why? I really want merch that says Sky Daddy Scott though, for real. That would be hilarious. Just like Scott's avatar on like a cloud. Yes.